Hi guys, we're going to be doing a very quick little clinic on two very essential elements that we use in many of our own bar mills dioramas, and you'll find these elements in many of the kits we make here at Bar Mills. Two items. Number one is how to install and give awnings a proper look when you install them on a building. Very quick to do, very simple. And number two is how to use our sidewalks in a snap. Incredibly easy, incredibly realistic, and just so easy to do that we wanted to just do a very quick clinic on how to do this. Now you'll have to follow along with the slides that we're going to be showing on the screen, because as anything, close-ups like this are just not best captured with a movie camera. What you want to do is this though. Before you start, have a green cutting pad. This one is made, well, any color cutting pad. This one's made by Excel. It's an 8-inch by 12-inch cutting pad. As you can see, it's been used a lot. We've had this for years. You want to make sure, regardless of what kind of modeling you're doing, whether you're doing an entire structure or just awnings in this case, that you have something like this to cut upon. You're also going to want to have an X-Acto knife. Anything with a number 11 blade, okay? And of course a metal straight edge, not the kind with the rubber or cork on the bottom, because that makes the straight edge sit up a little bit higher, and you don't want that. You want to make sure it's sitting perfectly flat. Now we're going to be discussing awnings to start this clinic, and basically what I have here is a mock-up of a couple awnings that come with one of our kits. Generally speaking, we'll give you more than one version of an awning, give you different graphics. So if you choose to paint your building a different color than we have, you'll have some flexibility built in. Now keep in mind, we create these awnings in an artwork program. We happen to use something called Corel Draw. But you could also recreate these at home and print them on 110-pound cardstock. This is commonly called index cardstock. Now, if you do this at home, you'll have the added flexibility of changing the name on the awning. In this case, these awnings are for the Curry Mercantile's business that we just released, and this could easily, have its measurements copied and be reprinted with something of your own liking. So what you're going to want to do is this, and you're going to follow the slides on this because it's so simple, but you really have to get a lot closer than we can with the video camera. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you have a sharp number 11 blade, make sure you have your metal ruler, and simply take your metal ruler and cut around the perimeter of the awning you have, whether it's a longer one or a shorter one, it makes no difference. Now if you'll notice, there are two places on the awning where the awning has to fold. What you want to do is scribe lightly along the fold lines. You don't want to cut through the awning, you just want to scribe. So once the awning is released, those lines can be crisply folded into something that works as a model. Now one thing that's kind of important is if you look at your X-Acto knife, it has a certain kind of circumference to it. And if you were to take your awning before, after you've removed it, and take your awning and gently wrap the awning around the X-Acto knife, you will introduce into the awning a curve. You don't want to make it so it literally surrounds the X-Acto knife and stays in a circular shape. You want to have something that is introduced into a curve. After the curve has been introduced, crisply fold back both the upper lip of the awning and the lower reveal that shows the name of the company in most parts, in most instances, and you'll be ready to install this awning on a building. And when you do this, the lip will provide you with some space to apply adhesives and join the awning to the surface of the actual building, and the curve will give you an attitude where it looks like it comes down and sweeps gently and curves as an awning would. Typically awnings, if nothing else, collect water, and that curve would reflect the awning in its natural use. Now you can also add, using small pieces of wire, a couple of support rods, and you'll see that in some photos as well. Typically, to add the support rods, we actually do it after the awning has been affixed onto the building. We take some just brass wire, and we place it strategically so it looks like it's supporting the awning, and we use Walder's glue to attach these support rods to the awning. We actually kind of overglue to the area under the awning where no one will see it, and underglue just a little bit against the building so we don't end up with a big glue splotch. Generally speaking, I do not paint these rods until after they are installed, at which time I use a very fine brush, and we'll use, I use polyscale paints or any kind of a water-based paint, and you could paint the rod typically a dark brown or a black, and we'll add some more implied detail to your awning. It's quick, it's easy to do, and of course if you want to weather the awning to a greater degree, you can use weathering powders or alcohol and India ink, but it can easily get out of hand, so be careful how you approach that. Now the second thing we're going to speak about is something called sidewalks in a snap. Now we came up with these a while ago, and they are it's a product made out of a special kind of paper cardstock that we have made up, and it's actually a pebbly surface if you look at it. Now nothing can be simpler to install than this. They can be cut to length. You can install corners where there are no corners because they are in the package, so that you have a lot of flexibility. The key thing here is to take the individual components out of their sheets, lay them on a flat surface, typically a piece of scrap paper, spray them lightly with some gray primer. You don't have to kill them. You don't want to cover up the surface detail, the cracks, and the stipple surface. Spray them lightly. Once that is done, grab some Reefer White polyscale paint, grab a broad tipped paintbrush, put the paintbrush in some water, then dip it into the polyscale paint, and then if you wish to, you can put it in the water again. Take off some of the excess moisture and give, in the stippling motion, a wash of Reefer White on top of the primer gray that you've already primed these sidewalk surfaces. You'll want something that looks modeled, something that doesn't look like it has a uniform finish. You can add layers of this kind of wash, one on top of the other, if you want more of an effect, but you generally do not have to. Once the Reefer White wash dries, you'll see a very, very convincing sidewalk look. It's just amazing how simple this is. 2 simple clinics. My name is Artie Fahey. Thanks for visiting Bar Mills. We hope these helped you out and that you'll be able to use them in any kit that you have. Thanks for visiting Bar Mills.